All right, today we are diving into one of the most action-packed and honestly, one of the most revealing stories in all of early Genesis. We're talking about chapter 14, which gives us the account of the very first war mentioned in the Bible. And it's a wild story of kings and conflict, but as we're about to see, there is so much more going on under the surface.
See, this isn't just some dry historical record of who fought whom. At its heart, this is a story about how a massive international conflict suddenly becomes deeply, deeply personal for one man. It forces him into a situation where he has to act, because nobody else will.
So, our story kicks off with a major clash of powers. Let's set the stage here, because we're looking at a huge conflict between two rival alliances of kings.
Now, this war didn't just pop up out of nowhere. Oh no, this was brewing for over a decade. For 12 long years, you've got 5 local kings paying tribute to this powerful eastern ruler, King Chedorlaomer. But in the 13th year, they've had enough. They rebel, and it takes them a year, but in that 14th year, Chedorlaomer and his allies march to war to crush this rebellion.
So who's actually in this fight? Well, on one side, you have the invaders. This is a coalition of 4 heavy-hitting kings from the east. Think modern-day Iran and Iraq, and they're led by the very formidable Chedorlaomer. And on the other side, you've got the rebels, an alliance of 5 local city kings from the Jordan Valley. And yep, that includes the infamous kings of Sodom and Gomorrah.
And here's the lineup. The text gives us all the names, pitting this invading alliance of 4 kings against the local rebel alliance of 5. So the stage is set for a big one. It's 4 kings versus 5.
And the battle? Well, it was a blowout. The 5 rebel kings were totally defeated. The text says the invading army took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah and all their victuals, which basically means they took everything. All the valuables, all the food, they cleaned the place out and just went on their way.
And right here, this is where the whole story pivots. This massive regional war is about to become a personal, high-stakes rescue mission for a man who, up until this point, had nothing to do with it, Abram.
So here's the line that changes everything. Along with all the loot, the victorious kings also took captives. And one of those captives was Lot, Abram's own nephew, who was living in Sodom. The second that Abram gets this news, the entire conflict, for him, just got personal. Now, get this. When Abram hears his nephew has been captured, what does he do? He doesn't go appeal to another king. He doesn't try to raise a professional army. No, he musters his own private force, just 318 trained men, all born in his household. That's it. 318 men against 4 victorious kings and their entire army. I mean, the odds are absolutely staggering. So how in the world did he pull this off? With pure tactical genius, that's how. Abram didn't just charge in blindly. First, he pursues them relentlessly, pushing them as far as Dan. Then he does something really smart. He divides his tiny force, a classic move to confuse a much larger enemy. And finally, he attacks at night, using the cover of darkness and the element of surprise to cause total chaos. Just a brilliant, brilliant strategy.
And the result? Complete and total success. The text is so clear on this, Abram brought back everything. Not just his nephew Lot and his family, but also the women, the people, and all the goods. He single-handedly reversed the entire outcome of the war.
So Abram returns as a hero, right? The guy who just defeated 4 kings. And on his way back, he has these 2 incredibly important encounters that show us even more about his character. The first is with this mysterious and very significant figure. He's met by a man named Melchizedek, and you really got to pay attention to his titles here. He is both a king, the king of Salem, which we believe is ancient Jerusalem, and he's a priest of God Most High. Having both of those titles, king and priest, is incredibly unique and so significant for this story.
So instead of slapping Abram on the back and congratulating him on his military skill, Melchizedek does something really different. He blesses Abram, and then he blesses God, giving God all the credit for the victory. He says it was God Most High who delivered thine enemies into thine hand. This completely shifts the focus away from human strength and on to divine power.
And what does Abram do in response to this priest king? He gives him a tithe, a tenth of all the spoils he recovered. This is such a profound act of honor and worship. He's acknowledging Melchizedek's spiritual authority, and through him, the authority of the God that he serves.
Okay, so that was the first encounter. The second one is just as important. After meeting this priest king, Abram now comes face to face with the king he just bailed out, the king of Sodom.
And this meeting right here, it's a final, crucial test of Abram's character.
The king of Sodom makes Abram a very standard and, let's be honest, a very tempting offer. He basically says, look, you can keep all the recovered wealth, all the treasure, all the goods, just give me my people back. And you have to understand, by the rules of war, Abram had a right to every last bit of it. This was his reward.
So this is the moment of truth. Abram has just won an impossible victory. He's being offered a fortune, a level of wealth that would make him one of the most powerful men in the entire region. What's he going to do?
Abram's response is just stunning. He refuses. He turns it all down. He says he won't take so much as a single thread or a sandal strap from the king of Sodom. And his reason why is so powerful. He never wants a man like the king of Sodom to be able to turn around and say, I'm the one who made Abram rich.
Wow. This incredible decision really reveals three key things about him. First, he flat out refuses any personal reward. Second, he declares that his ultimate allegiance, his oath, is to God Most High, the very same God Melchizedek served. And third, he shows he's a fair man, making sure his allies who fought alongside him get their rightful share.
So here's the bottom line. When he's faced with this ultimate test of character, Abram chooses honor, integrity, and his deep trust in God over a massive personal fortune. He made it clear that he wanted his blessing and his prosperity to come from God and God alone, not from a corrupt king.
And this story just leaves us with this powerful question to chew on, right? In the end, what really defines a victory? Is it about the stuff you get, the spoils you take home, or is it about the principles you uphold and the character you show when everything is on the line?